In tonight's in-depth coverage, I'm speaking unedited with the first person to throw his hat in the race to be Attorney General of Oklahoma. Current AG Gentner Drummond is running for governor. Joining me unedited in his own words about the campaign ahead is Republican and former state representative Jon Echols. Joining me unedited in his own words for the first time since announcing he's running for Attorney General is State Representative Jon Echols. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, no problem. I always ask people who are running for office what was the moment you got off the couch, but you've been in office. So what was the moment you decided to run for Attorney General?
Yeah, so the time I decided to run for Attorney General really occurred about 2 years ago. Was when I started really feeling like what I wanted to do after the Oklahoma House of Representatives to give back to the state of Oklahoma. I have a full-time life. I have an incredible wife, married my high school sweetheart, 3 great kids. And being floor leader for 8 years, I knew I wanted to do something substantial that made a difference. So that's really why I want to be the Oklahoma Attorney General.
You've seen some of the front row, you've had a front row seat to some of these disputes, and I'm wondering, do you think the relationship between the Attorney General and the governor, obviously we don't know who the governor is going to be if you win, but do you think the relationship is working right now?
Well, there's definitely friction there, there's no doubt. And I think at the end of the day, the relationship that matters for the Oklahoma Attorney General is the citizens for the state of Oklahoma. As I've said in my announcement, I'm running to make a safer, freer, stronger Oklahoma, and who I'm going to represent is the average Oklahoman. Now, I'm a deal maker. I've been a deal maker for 8 years in the House, 8 years as floor leader. Whoever the next governor is, my gut reaction is going to be, we're going to try to get big things accomplished in a deal, but not because for the governor, it's for the sake of the people. They want their government to work.
Let me ask you on these splits, what would you have done with Richard Glossip? Do you agree the route Gentner Drummond took?
I don't know enough to know because I didn't see the case. From what I've seen, I believe Richard Glossip did it. From what I've seen on the case, I believe Richard Glossip is guilty. However, I'm hesitant to criticize what someone else did that has seen evidence that I haven't seen. So here's what I can tell the citizens of Oklahoma to do. I'm for the death penalty, and I'm for the equal justice under the law. No matter who you are, it has to be the same. Everyone has to be treated equally. But we do have to have fair prosecutions. Maybe the general saw something I didn't see that made him believe it wasn't a fair prosecution.
So I know you've seen some of this. I saw you work on some bills about it. How would you have handled St. Isidore?
I'm in favor of St. Isidore. I think, and I filed a brief working with the ACLJ, the American Center for Law and Justice. That's basically the Christian version of the ACLU is how I describe it, the national leading conservative organization. I think I am a school choice proponent, and I think St. Isidore should be allowed by the United States Supreme Court.
You are in eastern Oklahoma, Indian territory. Obviously, there have been tribal issues between the governor and the tribes and things. How do you plan on tackling McGirt, making communication better with the tribes and things like that?
Well, number one, I'm a law enforcement guy. I announced with 18 sheriff endorsements, and that's still more counting, several here from eastern Oklahoma, including Rogers County and right here in Tulsa County, Vic Regalado. I'm a supporter of law enforcement. Part of that means when you're dealing with McGirt, we have to have a system that's going to work. We can't live in a world where there's 2 different criminal jurisdictions. But the answer to McGirt, in my mind, is not more lawsuits. The answer to McGirt is deals. And I've been a deal maker my entire time. We're going to be able to go in and work with our tribal nations and come up with concurrent jurisdiction ideas that recognize their tribal sovereignty, but still supports law enforcement and make sure you as a Tulsan are not worried about not having equal justice applied to you.
What would you say, let's say somebody's watching at home, obviously you've been at the Capitol for a while, but this is Tulsa. Who are you?
Yeah, I'm glad to ask that. And that's what's been new. I'm a 5th generation Oklahoman. I'm Jon Echols, but I'm Kristen's husband. I'm David, Ethan, and Kaylee's dad. I'm a businessman that has been very successful in the business world, very successful in my law practice, and I've got a track record of a conservative champion for the citizens of the state of Oklahoma. And that's who I am at my core. And over these next 15 months before the primary, I'm going to be touring this entire state like I've always been, going to all 77 counties, spending a lot of time here in eastern Oklahoma, letting people know who I am, what I'm about. And I'm about a conservative philosophy that's going to create a safer, freer, stronger Oklahoma as its next Attorney General.
How do you feel about the topic of illegal immigration? Are we doing things right? Should we? You were in the House when the bill passed that made it a state level crime. Should we be doing more? Is there, or are we on track, I guess you could say?
Well, I wasn't just in the House. I was the guy that presented that bill for 3 hours. I mean, when you elect me, you elect a fighter, somebody that wants to do the right thing. I will support President Trump in what he's doing to stop illegal immigration inside the state of Oklahoma. I'm very pro legal immigration. People that are here legally, that have followed the process, we need to support them. They're Americans like anyone else. But as far as illegal immigration goes, yes, I passed that bill. I presented that bill for 3 hours. And let's be clear, I talk about this a lot when I get the opportunity to speak. Politicians need to listen to the people. They need to listen to the people that elected them. And the people of the state of Oklahoma spoke strongly. 77 counties all voted for President Trump on the idea that he's going to enforce illegal immigration. And I'm unashamed to say I have a track record. There may be other people that say they're going to do it. I have a track record of doing that.
We've also seen A.G. Drummond also, interacting with the State Board of Education, removing the attorney there. Where do you draw the line as to let those people run their agency versus you getting involved should you get this job?
Oh, I'm very open. I will be a watchdog. As a matter of fact, I will be a guard dog for taxpayer dollars. It is the job of the Attorney General to make sure state agencies are following the law. Not what the Attorney General thinks the law should be, but following the law. So again, you're not electing me if what you want is for somebody to go run a law firm. That's not what I do. I do the things I tell the citizens I'm going to do. I will be a watchdog for taxpayer dollars. I ran the bill that created the Legislative Office of Fiscal Transparency. We were doing Doge before Doge was cool. I'm going to do that, and it is the job of the Attorney General to make sure your tax dollars are well spent when they represent these state agencies, that they're following the law.
Do you feel this office has been in flux? I mean, we've had Pruitt, Hunter, O'Connor, now Drummond, and Drummond's now going, and you would be the fifth in I think in 8 years or so. Is that bad for the agency that we've seen so much flux?
I think the state of Oklahoma is better served with stability. I want to be Attorney General. I don't want it for a stepping stone. That's the position I'm passionate about, and I can make a difference for the state of Oklahoma. And when elected, I want to be an 8-year Attorney General. I'm not looking for my next stepping stone. I'm not going to be running for another office. I believe I can build a safer, freer, stronger Oklahoma from that position. I can make your kids' life better, my kids' lives better. And yes, we need stability in that position, and I'm going to be able to provide that.
All right, Representative, I'm out of time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on.